Welcome, everyone. The greatest day that we've ever been. Let's stand up. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for taking your time to come out. I'd like to start out by thanking Victoria for being so selfless and stepping up to the plate the last 2 meetings that I've missed. So thank you. Thank you. The approval of minutes from April and May. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at it? Any misspellings, grammatical mistakes? There's a W in Chautauqua, I saw.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just playing.
It gives you a misspelled word no matter how you spell it.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
You're
It tries to
you're trying to guess
autocorrect and
at
then
that
you try and
point.
go back and correct it.
I usually don't find anything. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that's gonna prove that I read these things.
Well, on that note, I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the April and May meetings.
I'll second. Any discussion? So moved.
Did you sign
Started.
it? Okay.
All right, first report. So last month there was some questions on the amount for the innkeeper's tax. Talked to the auditor's office, so the new number, I think we had 38,000 and something for April, which based on looking at the numbers and trying to figure out $57,355.79 for April, and then May is $73,742.46.
So question is that, because of that lower number in March, did April pick up?
I wouldn't think so. I just think it's, you know, you're waiting on people to pay, and so that may be a little bit of it. Some of it may be just, and it is just waiting on people to pay for that number to come in. I mean, it should be in, but we don't have much by the way of forcing folks to pay. They pay when they get around to it. All right, the other one is kind of the budgeting or the worksheet. So I had missed the time before to get it into the auditor, and they got it this time, so we've had 500,000 into community outreach. That was plus another 150,000. So I mean that would have said with what had come in, and with that 500,000 there in community outreach, we still have 130,000 right now out there in that would be available should we need to. One thing that is coming up, which is kind of unusual for us because of in times past we go on annual basis, but the budget worksheets are due Wednesday. So we know how much we're having, we get the VMI is what it was plus 4%, put that in there. With the 130-some-thousand, and so I put 350,000 in community outreach. We put in total this year 500,000, but I'll start with 350,000 and we'll see. And so I'm looking at what the rest of the year has normally been, because usually the first of the year is a little slower than the second half. So a little bit better start than I think when we started last year, because it was kind of a guess when we put it in there. So the county council has never really caused any or raised any issues with adding more to that. So
Okay.
It'll depend on how much comes in, but I think that's probably a better starting point than the 200,000 we had last year, starting with 350,000.
And thank you for going to those meetings.
And they were pretty painless. That's not always the case for me, but I think it is.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. We had 2 claims. We had the marketing expenses for VMI, which is $12,971.34. And then a resource expense, which was $1,418. That's for dues to destination organization, dues, destinations and international, sorry. Make a motion to approve the claims and approve the treasurer's report.
I move that, you want me in one motion? I move that we approve the treasurer's report as well as the claims.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion moved. VMI update.
All right. Let's see, Ron, so I'll stand up. I know.
It's all right.
Well, good to see you all. Had another good month, as you can see by the numbers. Occupancy as we were looking at the stats, occupancy was 13% higher than in May of 22, or May of 23. So again, really strong numbers that we're seeing, and we're seeing ADR up, RevPAR up, and weekdays are looking pretty good too. At least with we get the star reports, and we can see the only 4 hotels that report. So that kind of skews our numbers and knowing what all is happening, but that's still pretty strong numbers in weekday. So that's encouraging. I'm also going to try to update you each month on some of the placer data that I've run, because we're getting into events and activities. Want you to kind of know what's happening with each of those. Year to date so far, we have had 391,600 unique visitors. And this is to Madison. I didn't run the full Jefferson County numbers, but to Madison, 391,600 unique visitors, making 2.6 million visits. That is, if you can believe it, that's down 0.5% from year to date 22. But still, the numbers are really, really good. Let's see here. We did have, as I'm talking about placer data, the Memorial Day car show was spectacular for the community. Got great reports from hotels, from businesses, people on the riverfront. I did go ahead and run the placer data. I sent it to the car show just so they have it. I'm going to pass around 2 different documents that you can review, and I'll email this to you as well. But I didn't want to kill a bunch of trees to print each of these. But this one with the blue cover is an overall in downtown over the course of 3 days. So May 26th, 27th, and 28th. And you can look on page 3, we had 27.7 thousand unique visitors in this downtown area for those 3 days. So that is the overall document. Then I ran one that ran a map just around the area of the car show for Saturday alone. So we can see how many people were there. There were 8,000 people essentially on the riverfront in the car show area on Saturday alone. And of those, and this is the report that I've got in front of me here for you, of those 2.1 thousand of those were from more than 50 miles away. A quarter of people on our riverfront came from more than 50 miles away. That's really good for their stay. And those
50 miles away.
likely, those are more people more likely to stay. So you can take a look at that. That's got some demographic information. And I just want to say thanks to the car show team for putting that on. It takes a lot of work. And as far as events and activities go, we're seeing really awesome bang for the buck that they put in versus a lot of other events. And so we want to thank them for all they do to make that a great weekend.
Pretty sure they had over 500 cars and
Yeah, over 600.
Over 600.
Yeah, 630 some on site, 640 some paid registrations. So that's positive. I worked the gate down there and Janine told me, she was like, I said, well, I'll just pass out visitors guides as people are coming in. She said, nice of you to think that. I want you to be able to pass it out. She said, you're not gonna have a ton. You're gonna be taking 20s from people hand over fist. Like you can't, I thought, sure, I'll get it. It's Janine and I, we'll both be able to do it. No, those people, we got their money, we gave them their registration, and it was moving through, and we moved 500 cars through in about 2.5 hours. It's unbelievable. So we ended up getting to, get the guides out, we got some Riverfest information out to some of them too, and so, I got to market some of our other Madison things to them. It was a really awesome, weekend. Sarah's gonna talk about a couple things, but you've got the annual report in front of you. I'll let her discuss that. And we are very proud of getting that done and having that here in front of you. We are also looking ahead at the eclipse in April of 2024, which is going to be here before we know it. We have the first meeting about that. We need to have another follow-up because we know people will be coming for that, and we need to be prepared and ready for what that looks like here in Madison. In Jefferson County, the northern part of the county is going to be where the total eclipse will be. So we anticipate we'll have people staying in Madison because that's where the hotels are, but they're gonna want to travel to the northern part of the county to see the total eclipse. And so we need to be prepared with a location, we're partnering with another community, something like that. So, we're a little bit behind, I think, on that planning, but we'll get something together. It's gonna be exciting for the community. We are also planning to attend a couple more promotional things for the community. We got accepted to come to the Indiana State Fair and have a booth there. And so those, I don't know if you've been to the State Fair on the day where all the communities come and showcase what they have to offer, but it's right inside one of the gates. Visit Indiana coordinates it, and lots of counties, cities have their booths there, passing out goodies, information. And so I want this to be a total community effort. Going to be asking some of our tourism partners from the Tourism Alliance to come help staff it that day, because what better opportunity to tell people about Indiana's Music City, the Arts Alliance, our historical sites, than 40,000 people walking right by the Indiana State Fair. So we're going to be doing that and hopefully have a lot of others. You all are welcome to come and join us, take an hour or two shift that day and stand there and talk about Madison. We'd love to have you this Sunday, August the 6th. So more information to come on that, but save the date if you want to be involved. And then we will also be attending an event in Cincinnati that Friday before, Friday, August 4th is Paddle Fest. And that's focused on outdoor recreation. So hoping to get somebody from Clifty Falls to come along with us and really promote what Madison has to offer as far as outdoor recreation. So we've got a couple really cool, exciting things coming up like that. I also have a report on River Roots as well. I know they didn't come and ask for any funds, but I want you all to kind of be in the loop on what's going on. It's a little bit harder to run their numbers because of the way the placer runs, but a pretty good event for them. I think they're pretty happy with it, but I'll pass this around. What you want to do on that is look at Saturday in particular, and it has the number for Saturday. How many people attended? I think they were pretty happy with it. We were happy with the partnership from Visit Madison standpoint, and so I'm excited to see where they go in the future. And then finally, wanted to make an announcement. I know some of you probably already seen it on Facebook. There were a couple of people that posted about it as well. I posted about it. I was really excited. Madison and Clifty Falls State Park is hosting the Indiana Volunteer Firefighters Convention in 2025. And so it's 2 years out, but it'll be here before we know it. Clifty Inn sent Casey, their sales manager, myself. We went up to Muncie 2 weeks ago and presented our pitch to host it here. And so we're really excited to be bringing that to Madison for the first time since 1979. So going to be possibly 300 people. So Clifty can't hold all of those, so they will be the convention headquarters. But that will spill out into other hotels and, we've started getting some quotes. Josh got us something from Fairfield and, we're hoping they're gonna be in campgrounds and other hotels. Hopefully we can have some transportation set up by then to be taking them around. So I'm really excited about that. There's a couple more in the pipeline. And these aren't even ones that we have gone out and really focused on approaching. They've approached us and said, would you like to bid? So I think there's even more to come as far as conferences and conventions, and look for even more announcements in the future on those. So that's what I've got. Any questions for me?
I like this information, thank you.
Yeah, and I will continue compiling these events. I didn't get the event impact calculator done, which the claim you approved for Destinations International. That is what helps pay for that event calculator. Didn't get that done for the car show. I was waiting on them to send that.
He just sent it.
He just sent it, I think, this week.
This past
So,
Friday.
so I'll get that done, but I'm compiling all those. I hope to bring them to you each month so that it's not all right at the end of the year. Here's what they all are, but then I'll have them all available if you want to see them at the end of the year. So, yep, we appreciate the partnership on those resource items, Placer and EIC and the STAR report. All of that is very helpful for us. So. All right, thank you.
And we get to follow that then.
I have a question, Andrew.
Yeah,
The River Roots, do you normally partner with them? Is that a normal thing?
It used to be under Visit Madison's umbrella, after COVID and some changes in that. It didn't happen for about 3 years, maybe longer than that. I'm trying to.
2019 was the last year.
Yeah, 3 years. So they decided to bring it back. They asked, Visit Madison still owns trademarks on it. And they asked if we partner and allow them to use those trademarks. And even though it looked a little different than what it looked like in the past, and we said, yeah, how do we help? So the board approved that. And so I think they're trying to figure out what that festival looks like going forward, rather than, I think before it got really, really big or tried to get really big and the numbers just didn't work out. So I think they're taking a look at what's the future of River Roots.
And the weather didn't work out for them as much either.
Yeah, and they had great weather.
It did in
for
the
this
past, is what I'm
event.
saying.
Yeah. It was toasty.
Very hot. Well,
Well, they got a couple rainouts.
Right.
And, yeah, it hurt them. They didn't have any reserved and they tight on the budget. And the crowds was mixed, yeah.
So we'll get to kind of regroup with them and see where they want to take things for the future. All right, Sarah?
Sure, yeah. So Andrew alluded to the fact that you passed out the annual report. That's definitely been a big animal for time for Visit Madison to put anything like that professional together. And we're just so excited to have it. It's gonna be a huge tool for you guys, for us. And we plan to pass those out to our tourism partners this week. We are doing some walkarounds this week on passing out some other event promotional material. So we're gonna also stop in and give you some thank you cards to our tourism partners and also hand them that. It helps them, yourselves, everybody in the community to understand a little more visual on what we do and the impact that we have on the community. And just to really put a visual to all of that. And so I had to take about 4 pages out that had a lot more marketing on it than what than what he felt like needed to be seen in this particular report, because it's, so of course I wanted to share it all. So I had to weed mine down a little bit, but that all of that stuff is available. Anything in the report that you guys want to learn more about or want to know more, obviously you're pretty familiar with the innkeeper's tax, and as we provide those placer data numbers on, showing that we had over 589,000 people in Madison in 2022, and a total in the county at 734,000. So just really showing those numbers It's just painting that picture, and so very, very proud of all of that, and the team that we all worked hard on getting the numbers and analyzing our own departments and providing that so that I could get the design done. And so that is hot off the press this morning from the printer.
I think Sarah mentioned it, but I think I kind of buried the lead on that. The headline could be that we had 589,000 visitors in Madison, 734,000 for the county, in 2022. That's a number that we haven't known in the past. I know we've thrown around a lot of numbers. We've thrown around 350,000, we've thrown around 400,000. And, you know, those were nice estimated guesses, but we didn't have the ability to know that like we can with this placer data. And so with that, we've got some numbers and we've already used it. A couple people reached out to us and said, we need this for a grant, or we need it because we want to bring a business here. You need to know how many visitors you have in this community each year. And we're able to give that. And so between the experience guide and that annual report, it's right there on our desk and we're referring to it already multiple times a day. So hopefully you will find that same value, and we're open to things that need to change and be added, and we're looking ahead at next year's on it. So.
And I'll go ahead and plant the seed about Placer. That's a partnership with the city and the county. The actual county government helped provide $5,000 to that this past year. We're actually getting ready to approach the new renewal for Placer, to which we have found a great benefit. And so Tony will probably be bringing that to you guys. It's a huge resource as we're showing you right now. So that's, you know, we didn't get it in time last year to get tourism's on it, but I think that he's gonna try to bring his portion of it here as well. And of course, the mayor sees great value in it. They use it every day in economic development there. So again, it's just gonna be, this is just a new era of being able to, hey, here you go, you know, instead of, well, let me get back with you, or, you know, just kind of guessing and that kind of stuff. So I had actually seen a letter in some of our files where we had quoted that there were 350,000 visitors in 2002. And then I was like, good, surely that's grown since then, you know what I mean? And maybe that's not that much since then, but that was what the estimate was from some feasibility study or something a long time ago. But anyway, so there's that. We're available. The other thing to note is that at the end, we added a survey. We created a survey for every one of you to fill out. We went, anybody that is welcome to fill it out. If you feel like your spouses want to do that, that's great too. We just want to get some sentiment back, some data, some information about tourism, how the sentiment here is, you know, and also just try to show the importance of tourism. So we have that on the second to last page there for anybody. Hey, so that again took up a lot of time, but alongside of that, we were also able to hire a marketing associate. So very excited about having help again. So their first day was last week. Gregory, she has a background in communications degree, emphasis on social media, as well as graphic design and video. So very excited to get her. She's excited about also getting involved in the data. And so in preparation for today's meeting and all that, so she had a good training information overload. So also alongside Andrew managing a couple of interns, they're working on some projects that I'm overseeing. We're redoing all the walking tours. And they're also getting it all put on our GPS tour at the pocket sites. So that whole program is completely being given a new look and refreshed. And our intern Britta Hess, she is working with each tourism partner that had something to do with those walking tours, making sure that the information is either updated or corrected, or if there's a building that's no longer there or a business that's no longer that's mentioned is taken care of. So there's that. And then we also have a Hanover intern, Lydia Goebel, that is working with us on content creation and content writing and blogging. And so that's actually going really well too. And so getting things going, you know, went from 0 to 3, but we're excited about all the help that's going on. And so just been heavily working on as well, the proposals from all the events coming in, booking all of that, already getting artwork that's due, and then working with those committees and those budgets. And then, as far as I had sent over to, Commissioner Bramer earlier today, the items that I plan to put in the monthly report, that way it's easier and simpler for you guys to know what we're tracking and most important things. And so even though they're in the report this way, I plan to organize them better for the future, how I sent them to him, broken down by Google Analytics, social media, email marketing, crowd riff, and any other statistics that I find that you guys would deem excellent or notable. So email marketing, 2 months ago, the last time I reported, well, actually I wasn't here last time, was I? So sorry. But my last report, we had added 4,700 emails to our database based on the lead generation program that we invest in. And so that was added to this June's newsletter. And so that open rate is just staying right at that nice 50%, which is awesome. Like, it's just way well above average, industry average, as well as the click-through rate. It's a 4.6% this time, and that's usually a 2.5 to 3 on an industry average kind of note. But so excited about the growth of that. One of the things in the report that actually on that page that he's got held up on the marketing, one of the things I found from 2022, one of our top sources from people going to our website was from our email marketing. It increased 240%. And so I kind of show that down there in the middle of the page. You see the little arrow in the corner in the center. It shows you that was, we're getting a lot more traffic from email, which is really good. And because, email is so finicky with, so people get so many emails these days, and you just want to ignore them. So getting these numbers is really encouraging. And we always want to provide value in the email box, making sure that subject line is correct and is something that is appealing. But then once they get in there and clicking, and so this past, so with that being said, this June email, the regatta event was the top link. I had links on them in 2 different places, and they were the top link, and like a lot of links. And then Clifty Inn was the second. They were our featured business for that newsletter. The Madison Music Calendar was third. And then the History Center's Art of the Dress, surprisingly, was 4. So, and those were all very high link numbers. So I tried to share those with people so they know that, we promoted them. So that is what's going on among all the other stuff. Down at the bottom, and probably all the stuff that I forgot to put in here. Based on Andrew's report, I was like, oh, I forgot to do that too. So, I'll continue to offer those detailed reports of all the KPIs, but if we rather just stick with the main ones that I gave to Dave, I can do that, and if you guys want more information, I can provide it. That way that I'm not adding a bunch of stuff and email to you guys. Just want to help keep things simple and informative as well.
So from an economic impact standpoint, the Riverfest brings in roughly 800,000. Chautauqua 6 mil, nights before Christmas 1.1, and then Regatta 2.2.
Correct, that is what those EICs report.
Okay,
And that's based on the information that they provided.
that's fun information.
It is fun information.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Yeah,
That's cool.
this is,
Yeah, and you guys are part of contributing to seeing the value in those research items, and that EIC is, Destinations International, it says that in the name, they're, a very reputable international company. And, this, I think I mentioned it when I proposed the tool, at the time it was 10 years old, it's 11, 12, almost 12 now. And, it's just so valuable.
I think the great thing about these numbers, it helps you all make decisions, and if you
Absolutely does.
need any kind of more specific numbers, you need us to dive in. The other thing that is
that I'm learning as I'm going through this EIC. Some of that is as much of an art as it is a science because of the questions that it asks and
Judgment calls sometimes.
there's some judgment calls. And so once we have one person, whether that will continue to be me, whether that will be Julia dealing with some of the data, once we have one person, then we can be very consistent in who plugs the numbers in, how they make the judgment calls about the number of overnights and all that. But we're able to use some of this data in conjunction. So when EIC says what percentage of people that came to the event are from overnight, before you just kind of said, well, I don't know, we guess 50%. Well, now we can look at placer and we can use the placer data in conjunction with the occupancy to know a better number. And so some of those EIC numbers will without a doubt change for next year. Some of them may go up, some of them may go down, but we tried our best to plug in with what we knew now, knowing that they will get refined over time and we'll get a little bit better at using that tool and all the tools together. So didn't want to throw that caveat in, but it's great information. And I think as we continue to refine those tools, those numbers will get even more accurate.
Jim had mentioned in our VMI meeting that about the deadline for the second cycle. And just with that being said, if there's something that you think these resource items can help make your decision based on, being whoever's applying tourism related or whatnot, like if there's something that specific dates, oh, well, they had this event last year and they want this, you know what I mean? It might be helpful to know, like, just know that in the back of your head that you could reach out to us. I know it's a short period of time.
We're
Do
happy to run.
don't you think so?
Yeah,
Well,
oh yeah,
that- okay.
we're happy to run those numbers. I think
If it's
I
something that
offered
you think.
So whatever you want us to run, we are happy to run those numbers so that you can take a look.
Was just something small, with the Rembrandt's building that we're doing. Erin, my partner, I just told her to communicate with you.
Yes,
And you were able to give her the information that she needed to fluff up her Airbnb and her website and all of her socials. So just having that tool and just how quick of a response Sarah was with high def quality pictures that just capture you, right? So thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Mhm. Well, good job.
Thank you.
Moving on. Jim, we ready to move on? Move on, okay.
You've already heard this once today, so he's twice now.
I've always enjoyed reruns.
Tourism Alliance Committee update.
I don't know that we haven't had another
We
meeting.
haven't,
We've got another one coming up in July.
we're looking for the 12th.
Perfect.
Scheduled July 12th, so we'll have another update for you at the July meeting.
Jim, moving on. Yeah. Partnerships and projects.
I can give you a brief update about the Imaginary Arts Alliance. For those of you, I've attended a few of these meetings with Kim, but to introduce myself, my name is Don Clapham. I'm current president of the board of directors for the Imaginary Arts Alliance. I've some information here. Coming over the table. But since the time of our grant award, we worked toward our priorities, addressing the application. We want to share this update, as far as staff improvements. But announce that we've just hired a part-time assistant and part-time development director, move our organization into a full-time operation, which is great. That was one of our goals.
Finally,
And,
awesome.
with thanks to you all. As far as public art goes, the completion and opening of the Mulberry Mural Plaza. They had our ribbon cutting last Friday, which was a big turnout. It was really nice. Along with that, we had a grand opening of Art in the alley there next to the tap room. The week prior to that, there were several board members, along with some of, the city workers and even Tony Steinhardt. We grabbed our brushes and rollers and went down through the alley and really, really improved the looks of that alley. You know, it's been there for 8 or 9 years and just kind of sitting there, and it was waiting for some improvements. So then, the following week, then, and there was an art exhibit that's actually placed in there, the photography of Bernie Casper. It's really worth a walk down through there to see that, because it's brightened that whole area up, and it's a nice entryway into the mural plaza itself. So I think it'll be enjoyed by both visitors and our local folks here too. It just really made a difference. And we had, of course, the opening of the Dale Rogers traveling exhibit, the flight exhibit down there in Bicentennial Park, which most of you have probably seen. And then we've had addition of artsy boxes. Those something that Coco, has, she's one of our board members. And, she also takes care of some of the student artwork. But she took it upon herself to, have a fundraiser at the Ohio Theater. I think that was late winter, to gather art materials so she could set these art boxes, which are actually reused Madison Courier paper boxes, with, some of our artwork on there. And it's open to children with, any kid that would like to just open it up and take some art supplies out. And she had a big turnout on that, so she has a lot of art supplies to hand out to the kids. And one of them was actually placed out in the Hanover Park, and she's gonna place a few of those others around too. Artsy switch boxes, which those are the switch boxes there for, that are by the stoplights. Those are all getting revamped and recovered throughout downtown. We're in the process of doing that. And then we completed the placement of the student artwork at the Jefferson County Courthouse, partnered with the JCHS History Center, along with Judge Moat on that. So that really was a nice project also. As far as promotion and marketing, we applied for and awarded a grant to establish a comprehensive public arts tour print material and guided with a pocket app and QR codes, and we're partnering with Visit Madison on that currently. And then at the spot, we continue to host various events at the spot, monthly gallery, which is art exhibits, reception, and it's attracted over 400 attendees since January. Continue to host a creatives. That's a student art sessions featuring artist-led workshops a couple times a month. And that's for junior, senior high, or junior and senior high school and college. And that's getting a lot of response from that too. And that's something else that Coco is kind of heading that up too. We're gearing up to host James Kids Artsy Camp, which are, that was real successful last year. That was our first year for that. And that's for kids grades 1 to 5 or 1 through 5th. It's going to be happening the 10th to 14th of July. And going on with the Americana Music Triangle movement. Kim attended the first Music Cities Music Tourism Convention in Cleveland, Mississippi. And that joined us with a network of music cities. And then she's also held 2 organizational meetings to establish a strategy and prepare for the Pilgrim. I can't say Pilgrimage Festival, which is the Americana Music Triangle experience in Franklin, Tennessee in the fall. And we'll see results from that. It'll take a year or maybe even 2 before we start seeing real results from that. But, you know, when the word gets out that we're part of that, triangle. So I think that we should see something right away in a small way, but I think as time goes on, that music triangle and Madison's music movement will start putting ourselves forward. So I appreciate the support from you guys. It helps us, we can better offer tourism product and properly support our tourism partners as we continue to support arts and culture in our community. Thanks. Any questions?
No, I think just makes me excited to be a part of a board that can invest in, groups like that. And, I think what you just said is our return on investment. And you guys have just started.
Yeah.
So thank you for the report.
I have one comment. Those switch boxes are hot.
Yeah, you like those?
I like it.
Good.
Nicely done.
Yeah, thank you. He does a good job. He does the wraps, but,
Yeah.
we do a call for art and then, choose, which, there's a committee that chooses which art to use and kind of figure out where to place them. But yeah, it kind of jazzes up downtown, so.
Nice.
It's just nice to hear how everybody is intertwined. It's just great.
And Don, one of the things I hear around town from a lot of people is there's nothing in Madison for kids to do,
Mhm.
but your creatives and your James Kids Art Camp is one more element in solving that problem.
Yeah, we try to take that, we try to keep the young people, involved also as far as the arts and culture, because they're for sure our future artists, so arts in the making. So. Yeah, but thanks.
Todd's gotta be kind of cool, because remember you mentioned this concept to me 2 years ago, and then here it is right now, just came to fruition. So it was your brainchild. and
Well,
It's pretty cool to see it.
Tourism thing, getting with the history and, I mean, I haven't been in the last couple of meetings, but the meetings that I was able to attend, and even Andrew's injection into it, enthusiasm, it's just been, I think it's just, it was a missing link. And then plus like you said, being able to invest in the capital, it's a winning formula. And it's your job to make sure you got it dialed in.
Sure.
So some years you're gonna turn this dial up a little bit, you'll turn this one down.
Thank you for having the vision.
If you haven't driven by the mural at nighttime since that's all finished, they put some incredible uplighting that just splashes light, and I mean, you can see it from Kentucky. It is, I mean, it's really neat. They did a wonderful job on that, so. Okay, thanks for allowing me to comment.
Thanks for the report.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Historic Madison has an update too. I emailed it to you. But if you would like a hard copy, I have it. I even brought visual aids, because I am that teacher in my daily life. So the short version is I've spent half the money. I'm working real hard to spend the rest of it. Really easy. Yep, you got it. Okay. So just today I finished up my big postcard order, with MPS. So here in Madison, keeping it in Jefferson County. That's a special 5x7 postcard. So it's a little different than our other ones. But we originally created it when we finished the restoration of the Shrewsbury House. So we've been out for like 2 years maybe. So I reordered those just today. And then I have lots of other postcards that I'm still ironing out. So these are updated, but original pictures from Anne Windle herself. So these are photos that Anne Windle had someone take in the 1980s, and then she made postcards, and we gave those away. We still have plenty to keep for the collection, but we used the vintage to make new postcards. And they have QR code on the back, so it's all updated. But so some of them have issues in that when I printed them, so if you read the report, it says I did test copies. Because like there's this weird border that wasn't on there that I gotta figure that out. So I've been doing more test copies. And then like this one, this is a favorite picture, the favorite postcard of people. There's a really tall guy in that picture, and when you put him into most editing software, he disappears. So he needs a border, but I can't quite get the border right. So
These are the things we are working on, because I want that guy to stay in the picture. I don't want a headless man, but we've done that. And I have here one of the two lovely, tablets that we are using to do credit cards now. So this one and this go together and they are like super easily labeled. A goes with A, B goes with B. And I even made it so that the volunteers can easily read and understand, like it'll load and you'll see there's an arrow that says click here. But that way we can do that and you can see in roughly 2 months with basically one credit card swiper, we did, $5,500 or $550 in transactions that we could have never done before.
Yeah.
And credit cards are really funny in that if one person does it, they might all do it. But,
Oh, you take cards.
yeah,
Mhm.
but that first person, even though I walk in and say, oh, I can take your credit card, they won't do it. But if you get one person to pull trigger, they will. So that's been really, really good. And we have 2 or 3 volunteers that feel comfortable enough that they are using it on their own, which is really good for me so that I don't have to be everywhere all the time. And maybe we can expand our tour offerings because this is the first phase of that, right? So you helped with this part with the hopes that we can get to that part. And then
Maybe one of your interns need to be the first one with the card.
I
Everybody
would-
else knows. Okay, so some helper pulls out the card and gets ready to pay, maybe you get everyone else behind you.
Well, that would be, well, cash is still better because you still
Well,
pay fees for.
I
credit card,
understand,
But
if
yes,
you, if you want to
Yeah.
expand
Never
your
done
card
it,
usage, have someone come in, hey.
so those are the big items, but the other really, really big item is another digital exhibit. So it's not the scale of the Saddle Tree Factory virtual tour, but it is a really cool exhibit with amazing pictures that anyone can scroll through and look at that tells the story of the Shrewsbury house and the preservation of it through the women who lived in it. So it is on final draft zone, which means it's currently stuck on my desk. But we're very close to having that live and you guys supported that 100%. So that's all included in that cost that you guys gave us. So we're hoping that can be live very soon, hopefully before the fall, so that everyone can see it and we can get more visitors. And numbers are up for the year, so all of this has played a part in that. And we are sticking with our tour schedule. So even though I sent you this email, I also probably sent you another email that gave you the tour schedule for July and August. I try to send that to almost as many people as I can think of that will find it useful. That includes some of the Airbnbs, some of the hotels, some of the restaurants and businesses in town as a way to kind of share that info. And that seems to be working. And what's the coolest part is I have new problems. One is I'm too busy. That's a great problem to have. But the other one is that we are getting really comfortable with visitors because they go to every tour. So on a Friday, we have 4 tours. It is not rare for me to see the same people at all 4 tours. So by the end of the day, I'm like, hey, Steve, great to see you again. I mean, it's been an hour. Wow, I hope that last tour was good. But that's a really great
Obviously it
thing.
was, or
Yeah.
you wouldn't be back.
That's exactly right. And they're having lunch in town and they are, going to Lanier and they've been to the History Center and they're checking everything out. So it's just a really great thing to see. And my number 1 favorite thing is it happened just today. Madisonians are taking tours.
That's cool.
That's huge. I am getting so many more people from Jefferson County and Madison that are showing up at tours now. And that was always my number 1. Tourists are kind of the easy thing. We need our community people to know what's going on so that they can bring the tourists in. Today, I had people that live here in Madison and I had people who were visiting Madisonians who came on a tour. And I think that really shows how that connection can grow. We all can do our part, but it's so much more than that. So that's kind of our recap. Does anybody have any questions? Need any answers on anything?
Can you give yourself a raise?
No. So this is what the credit card swiper looks like.
Is that a raise? Can we get our-
So it just says, click here, for credit card payments, and you literally click that one button and you're good to go. So we made it very easy, and these are very affordable, which helps because the volunteers get scared. So you can see how much they are. They're not outrageous. I have nice hard cases on them. It's gonna be a useful system. We're just working on the kinks. So,
How much is a tour?
3 of our sites, it's $5 for the 2 big ones. Saddle Tree and Shrewsbury, it is $10.
And you're not charging any 3%, 4% if they use a credit card?
No. We're happy to have them, and we're a nonprofit.
No, I get that. I would highly encourage you with that small of a transaction at the end of 12 months. Take a look at, see what you pay credit card companies.
Oh, I know every month.
Okay, well, and don't be scared. For $5, somebody will pay $5.40.
Yeah,
$5.60, if for the convenience
Yeah,
of the card.
it's never that simple. So when I talk to the bank about it, because we use First Financial,
Mhm.
to run all of our credit cards, this is their system that we're using. It's like an extra fee to set that up to save the fee, so, and it's a different system, and it's this, and I was like, I'll just stick with this for now, like, let's master the art, and then we can tweak it.
Trevor, you're saying raise the price, right?
Well, he's saying charge the service fee directly to the
If-
user.
Once it passes the fee
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, which we do, like, for the gala, we do that.
Okay.
So in Eventbrite, I can say, please cover our fees, and then that works. But Eventbrite still gets a kickback out of even that fee, so
Sure.
it's not as cut and dry.
And
as it
Todd,
could be.
yes,
Yeah, and we're getting there, so
sure,
2024
sure.
has some options. We're seriously considering that. We're growing in volunteer base, we're growing in demand. I think there are serious conversations going forward.
Good.
But I also know that I need to talk to my tourism partners about that.
I mean, to
I
walk,
can't just be like, $26, congratulations,
No.
that's what we're doing.
no, but I mean, walking through one of those pristine homes has
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah.
There's no difference between paying $5 and $10.
No,
It is what it
exactly.
is, right?
And I've been traveling around to see what other sites are doing, and not like the little mom and pops in the,
Sure.
in the middle of nowhere. I went to the Hermitage. I've been to Mount Vernon. John was just in Williamsburg. Like, we're going big. We're not trying to just
for
compete
you.
with Carrollton. We're like, let's be Louisville.
Yeah.
Let's do this. We have real offerings and real potential.
You do,
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
you do. Actually, I think Historic Madison Inc. has tremendous potential for historic tourism.
Yeah.
If you could get your product out there and get visibility, I think it's hot.
well, we're working on making a good product more than anything. So you guys are helping us do that. We're creating the product, we're creating the ease of getting people in the door, and from that, we can build. And so that's really the goal, and that's what we're working on. And it's crazy to say, but everyone has bought in. I love boat days now, because I don't work on boat days. I'm not working in the boat anymore. And I go around and see the volunteers and take pictures, and they're all just happy to be there. Right? And you can't beat that. Like, they're having fun, we're having fun, we're making money, everybody's happy, people are seeing sights. That's what it's about. And so I know we're in the right direction. We just gotta keep building. So, and you guys have been extremely helpful in that. The $10,000 is huge money to us. So
I
definitely, we
personally-
appreciate
Well, I
that.
personally haven't talked to anybody on the board, but I would encourage you all specifically to at least consider talking with us, right, wrong, or indifferent in August.
Yes. Yeah, well, and I'm sure when we have our next alliance meeting, there will be some good conversations that come on that, because we're one of those, we really like to partner when we can. We're doing a partnership program with Lanier in August, so I'm trying to keep all of that going and be a good partner. I don't wanna, run alone.
She's got the applications, or all of us got the applications.
Yeah, no, we already have it, John's been working on it,
Okay, cool.
so I know things are in the works. Yeah.
Great job.
Do you
Thank
send
you,
out,
Jess.
I mean, I know you send out the schedule for like June and July. Do you have like, as you get close to one, do you send out little notes that it's happening next weekend or something like that?
So,
I
before.
just,
before
the reason I
COVID,
ask is I'm gonna have you send it to Sarah
Yeah.
Morgan. I can get it up on the county's website and on the Facebook
gosh,
page,
yeah.
so just things like that,
Yeah.
or we could do the whole schedule, but I was thinking as you get closer to one. Just a
Yeah.
little blurb and she can
Okay,
pop that up.
absolutely. No,
I'll
we
let,
would
I'll
love
let her
that.
know that before it shows up, so I'll send you hers.
Okay, good. Yeah, so we have not, this is the one aspect that we haven't really figured out how to work through going forward post-COVID. So before COVID, we still sent a newsletter in the mail to pretty much everyone in our membership, which is roughly 500 to 700 people, depending on the year and what's going on. We don't have the time to really make that happen. And it was a huge cost to get it printed and mailed. We're currently fighting with the postage machine people right now, because it's outrageous. I was like, we'll go buy stamps, I don't care. So we haven't figured that out exactly. We do a kind of a blast to our members when we have something coming up, and press. So I have a whole press listing, which is basically what you guys are all on for, you know, when I send out tours and alerts. But that's kind of where we're at the moment. It's definitely something we want to get back to. It's just finding out how we work that into the system. And when Sarah shares numbers like 240 like, I know I need to be doing it. It's just finding a way to make it happen.
Well, I was just
So,
thinking, if you're sending it out, if you're sending those blasts,
Yeah.
I'll try to remember, but something,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I'll
No, I would
send you her
appreciate
email address so you can include it in the
Yeah. Well,
list
and
and she can.
social media has been really good for that too. We're almost at the goal for the year right now. So I went in last year and I said, this is how many followers we gained for the year. We're already there. And it's July. So we're definitely growing. It's just finding out what makes the most sense. And the hardest part with social media is you don't know that those are people showing. Sometimes you do,
Well,
but not always.
I mean, it is a numbers game.
Email makes you the better, it gives you the
Sure.
better return
Sure,
on
but-
data, so,
It's.
Yeah.
It's free and
right,
people are reading it and.
yeah,
And we're always wondering that when we put together a new website, are people gonna read it? You know, flood comes, you got a list of roads that are closed up on there. All of
Yeah.
a sudden you pull it down to update it, and people are like, where'd the list go? I'm like, okay, well, I know you're looking at the
Obviously,
website. So,
yeah, or
so-
the sirens go off, everybody goes to check Facebook, why is the siren going off? Okay, we're there, yes. So, yeah, no, and we're working towards that. Our digital growth has been exponential. We still have a long way to go.
oh, you can get some
So-
help there. and-
Yeah, we'll figure it out, but that exhibit will help that too, so that'll be a huge thing, cause it's a new tool. It's a new like formatting system thing, which is a whole separate awesome thing of, yeah, I don't know. The kids tell me it's great, so that's it.
Hey, good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Oh, get old. Calling Jess is hard.
Gave you the
I
chance.
don't have any, flashcards or anything. We haven't spent all of our money yet, Dave. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. First thing, so I'll give you a few handouts here. I'm sorry I didn't get these emailed. But, Wendy, if you would pass those. And, I'll review that with everybody. And then also, this is a review for July for content one. First thing is two things. You know, I'll say it every time I can, the opportunity for JCBT to invest in the community with, you know, these peripheral partners is huge, and I'll reiterate, thank you guys over and over for this. This is a follow-up. This is our first quarter since, we were awarded the grants. And, I think Dave, you asked for us to come back and give updates, so that's kind of what we're doing. So feel free to ask us any questions. We hope we don't have to wait every 3 months to do these, but any questions before then, just let us know. Second thing I want to say is the partners in this room, the MAW, HMI and VMI. I mean, it's incredible watching that group come together. I think I'm seeing these guys, history guys on TV more and Facebook than we ever have it's phenomenal. It's just a great story. Clifty, I think Andrew, we need them next, right? So that's big. I'll just walk through this real quick. This is just a quick summary that talks specifics about, the allocations. And then feel free to ask any questions, as we go through. So the marketing thing, if you're on Facebook, you're seeing a lot of it. Some Instagram is starting to get some traction. We are using Content One. I think we tried to use, this is Future State. If we could use VMI to do that, we'd love to. But in this case, I think we tried and it just wasn't the right timing. So we have gone to Content One. And, we're getting some really good results. So right now, each month, you'll see a campaign. So what you're seeing here is 2 things that'll go out in July. And that's an example. That's an outline. They'll do that each month of what we want to get done. It's not just the video content. So we're trying to beef up the video content. We've got, talk to them, get the staff support. So like Lindsay right now, and we're trying to get high quality video that we're trying to send to Content One so that they can put into their videos. I would encourage you to go, if you're not on Facebook, there's 2 YouTubes on there that shows the next 2 videos coming out, and I've seen them both, and they've got a ton of history in them. They show a ton of Madison, and they're very good. They're about a minute and a half. They don't really, it's not a big music, it's not a lot of music in there. It's more of the generic, but it shows bam, 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 bam of all the cool things to do, clicking that. Our impressions are up, it says 300, Charlie wrote this, so we've been getting some of them up to 500,000 or 600,000 a month of impressions. So, and then we're getting a very, like Dan said, Dan Galvin, our click-through is compared to the industry is very high. So we're getting a ton of click-through, which means that they see it. Do I want to see it? I click in it and it goes in. So that number is a huge number too. Charlie's got an email that we send out. If you're not on there, if you like music, I recommend that you get on it. It's basically Charlie's beat that he emails out to everybody. So we got 1,200 on that today. This may not sound like a big number, but that's 1,200 people that like you said, Dave, they're looking at it and saying, what's going on in Madison as it relates to music. Very small churn. That's not going down, that number. So Lindsay is on our team. Any questions on the marketing? So staff support, Lindsay is on our team. She's, we've got, so we've got allocation for that. One thing that's not on here too is we now are paying rent to MA. So we're co-branding with the Arts Alliance, and that's, we come in once a week, and then we help with a little bit of the utilities and use a copier and that kind of thing. That's going well. The 2 things is that Lindsay's working on. One is the video content, and the other is what we call the heat map, right? So the city's involved, BMI's involved in that. So, talking to the city, they're very tight on bandwidth. So what we were doing is we said, let us have access, or at least, use Lindsay, because she has some bandwidth, and let her help you, right? So we were even helping the city, but give us access to the data, and then let us be able to see that. And what we want to see is an example would be how much traffic are we getting River, Rooster Tail, beyond the big, what I would call the majors, how much traffic are we getting? Is it during the week? All the things that the heat map does, right? So we're working on that. Music in the street. So that's a $7,500 deal. That is going, I think that's the best money we're spending right now. We're doing busking. Has anybody seen the busking going on Saturday? So if you go up and down Main Street, there's people playing live music. So what we're doing is we're guaranteeing them so much, and actually we're paying them, right? But then that's to get it, started, and then hopefully they make enough money in tips. They're making $300 or $400, sometimes as low as $100, but we're guaranteeing them 100. So, and we help fund Ma a little bit. They had an event this past weekend, so again, co-branding there. And then we supported Mad Hop. We gave them $2,000 to help with Mad Hop to get that kicked off. I think the $7,500 will be money well spent. And then, for consideration, if there's something that, let's just say that you don't want somebody to come to the board, Future State, Trevor, you guys think about that and say, go see M3. It's your money. And just say, and if you called and said, hey, we recommend this, but if you don't want them to come to your board specifically, you can push them to us, and then we'll try to support that. The Americana Triangle is, I wish Kim was here because she's so passionate about it, and, you know, the more I hear about it, the more I think this is just a really cool secret sauce that we're getting involved in. But basically, it's, in the, I'll come back to the HMI thing. What is unique about it is there's guys like, you know, Muscle Shoals, New Orleans is involved. Nashville, Tennessee, and then Owensboro, Kentucky just recently got involved, and we're the top of the triangle. We're the furthest north. And what it's doing is it's tying all the history of music. Most of it is river history, right? So how the river and in the 1700s, 1800s, how that history tied to music. So what this group, this money is being spent on is the, who's John Nyberg, who's he work for? What's it called?
History Center.
So the History Center is involved. I know HMI is involved. There's a lot of people. They've had lots of meetings. And they're trying to put together a list right now of all the people that have had over the, you know, back to as long as we can. Is where our history started as it relates to music. So, and then who's played in town, right? So, you know, it could be, you know, the movie stuff is very well known. But there's a lot of people, the old Central used to get a lot of really, you know, back in the 50s, had some really cool artists that had come through here. So the goal is to just kind of get the hook beyond the music is to tie that to history. And if we can get that figured out, we really, and Kim is just, she's so phenomenal about, and she knows the right people because they trust her and she's smart. This thing is really getting a lot of traction. Now, I think, we're not sure where this is gonna go, but right now it's, you know, it's just something really cool to be invited, to be able to be invited for that. Okay, so.
It's actually a partnership between music movement,
Yvonne,
mom, VMI, and the city at this juncture.
as it relates to the history piece.
No, that's
American
the
Music
overall, the whole triangle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know we got the majority of the funding, so we're just trying to, you know, make sure that we get a bow on it, at least to report back on the funding, but you're right, yeah.
I think Kim's trying to pull everybody that she can see that big visionary, and she can see the players that need to be involved in all of it. And she definitely sees us kind of trying to nurture that music tourism and, you know, what does that look like? And, you know, share the information that she got when she went to the music conference in Cleveland, Mississippi. And I mean, I think we're all involved. I think it's
This is huge.
because what she wants us to.
Well, I think what's unique is how many people, when they go to these bigger, you know, everybody knows the cities, right? Music City, is how many people are now knowing about Madison, right? And it's funny, I need to call Scott back. A guy from Jeffersonville called me this week and he goes, I heard you're the guy helping with the music stuff. And he goes, I wish more people would do that in the community, but it's how many people have called us or hit us on Facebook about Mount. I can't believe this story about, you know, it's just the message that you know, the message is being put out there, but it's being carried on. It's just not, most of these big hits is when it's shared and shared and shared and shared. And it's kind of cool. It's good. It's just, I'm not saying it's a flywheel yet, but it's starting to get to where, you know, it could be a flywheel. Okay. Couple other things. One is, we are applying for a trademark for Indiana's Music City. Now, we originally were not gonna do that, but I don't know, did anybody see what Bloomington did? I think we were some text there. So if you haven't seen it, Indiana or Bloomington is now advertising as. What is it, Lucy?
Indiana.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they got, I mean, it's. At first I sent a note to Charlie and I go, Charlie, can you believe this? And he's like, oh, Todd, you know, you're just too aggressive. It's okay. And then I think he had a few cocktails and he's like, it's ours, get off it. So.
He got out there and put out some public comments on their stuff.
We had a guy, his name's Dave Pose. He owns a patent company in DC. Dave's from Madison, good for, we go high school. You can probably too young, Trevor. Dave, you played ball for Madison, but
Dave who?
Dave Pose.
Okay.
POSZ. His dad was, he worked at Madison Chemical, but Dave, he's got a very successful, but they're doing it basic, not for free, but it's really, it's just a very cost effective. So we're applying for that. And so that logo and then Indiana's Music City, the verbiage, we're applying it for trademark for
Have you had any roadblocks with using the word Indiana? Because
I was gonna
anything,
say, can't
anything
trademark
that
a,
I've dealt with in the trademarks that I'm dealing with, that we own, you know, using the word Indiana and claiming that you are that is, it's a little bit more difficult process.
So when we first looked at this a couple years ago, they didn't think that we could get a trademark. And now they feel like that that it is. Now, it could easily get kicked back. Only thing we've done is it's amazing how, you know, they were pros, they knew everything you had to do, how you had to apply for it. So it could get. We did have, the last thing is our fundraiser, we had the Derby event. I think some of you in here have been to that before. It was our fundraiser. We hold it at the Ridgewood. Good results out of that. We netted 36,000 for M3 for that event. We brought in about, over 450 people from 15 out of 15 different states is what feedback that we got. Washington, California, New York, Texas, Georgia, Michigan. And it's funny that the people from out of town really seem to like it and appreciate it more than the others. So we also brought in $50,000 that we gave back into this community. And then about 30,000, some folks like the hotel and others that have helped in-kind donations, about 30,000. So we brought in about 80 and we kept 36 of it. So it's not really a festival, but it is our fundraiser, and that was a pretty good story. And any questions? The only thing I'll end with is if anybody wants, this has got not to stay on here for very long, but this was our annual meeting. Wendy, you guys can take some of this, but there's some really good things as you want to see what else we're doing year 2, year 3. And some of our initiatives for the year. I only have 3 copies. Anybody else wants one? We can get you a copy. So that was hosted by, Dr. Michael Fortunato's on our board. Michael helped us lead this initiative. It's funny, and we had our first offsite 2 years ago, and how closely we came back to the same thing. There's a lot of data in there. And again, I think we'd ask you to kind of look through it. If you have any initiatives, anybody that you know that would like to help with the music, M3 or Indiana's Music City, let us know. But there's a lot of data in there. If anybody wants it, I can email it to you. And that's me for my report.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I will throw in, everybody's probably tired of hearing me talk tonight, but I'll throw in about Motor Trail. I'm trying to get Lucy to come up here to come report on Motor Trail. But she's worked really hard on Motor Trail, trying to get it moving after our conversations with Hanover. I know she emailed you an update before the last meeting. We weren't able to get the assets of the things that Hanover worked on from the Motor Trail. And we've been evaluating and trying to see what we can use from that. She is putting together a timeline. Plan is to debut in mid-August and have that be phase 1 with about 4 routes, and then another route about Labor Day, trying to keep the publicity going about it. And so she's in the middle of doing all that, starting with electronic materials, then going to printed. Happy to give you some more details about how that process is going. If you want to talk through some of that on, sideline, but it's been a process, but we're excited that it's finally moving forward. So, yeah, we'll have some more for you in July.
Great information.
Yeah, the motorcycle thing too.
Yeah,
That's what we call
Motor Trail. Yeah.
Okay, obviously, not mobile.
Yeah, no, Motor Trails, motorcycle, car clubs. We've seen a lot of car clubs come through already. They've been staying at the Fairfield. We had a road rally that came through, brought 40 cars of all types on a random, I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, just showed up at the visitor center, hadn't even contacted us about it. It was really, really cool. There's a market there. And I was on vacation this last week, picked up a couple brochures from some places in North Carolina, Tennessee that are doing it and doing it well. But I think we can do it better.
What do you think what's your timeline to have it operation?
In operation, it's mid-August.
in August?
We'll have that to debut in mid-August. So we're working on it. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you for
That's,
the reporting back.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Well done. Well done. Any other comments from the board, from the audience? Anyone else want to stand up? Tell us what's going on. All right.
Trevor,
Yeah.
back around and.
Yeah.
One of the things that's kind of came up as a kind of a spitball was, what if we had a way for transportation in and out of town, right? So kind of started with the conversation about, and this is conversation been there for years, going to Belterra back, but where it led to was, what if we had a way to get people to town, call this home base, they could come, they could stay at Fairfield, or they could stay at Airbnb or whatever. But we could say, we'll take you to go see Lyle Lovett and Nashville, Indiana. And we have a shuttle, it's set up, we work on the tickets, we get the shuttle, it's all dialed in. It could go, we can get you to Keeneland, we can get you to Churchill Downs, we can get you to the Belterra. But this is home base, and they could do 4 different boom, boom, boom in a day. Hey, we go to Lyle Lovett on Wednesday, then we go to Keeneland on Friday, but I got a ride, I got, so M3 talked about funding that, just to kind of say, we'll make sure that the bus, whoever does the bus makes, breaks even, and we'll charge them. But you make this your home base, travel here, and you can go to 4 or 5, you don't have to go to Lexington, only go to Keeneland. But you could put together 3 or 4, or let's just say 2 things in the trip. I want to go to Keeneland, and I want to go to Cincinnati to the concert, but I stay in Madison's home base. Easier to get a hotel, easier to travel to, but we would have to somehow fund, or at least get that busing company. And this is like your baseball thing, right? So in other words, we could fund it, and M3's talking about doing it, we've got enough, we think we could fund that, at least to see, is it viable for business? And then maybe you give a grant to somebody to get started. Here's 25,000 to go buy a bus, but you gotta give us, X amount of contract or something for the time. I don't know, I'm just spitballing.
So basically packages.
But
It's a
but
package
the
that.
key is getting that transportation, because my daughter's getting married, and I've been looking at these limos, and they're not cheap, right? It's you almost need, maybe you start out with, go to Chandler and say they got a 15 passenger bus, but maybe it's as simple as that. And just try to get somebody to own it, right? The key is to getting somebody to own it. They have to have, you have to have CDL, you have to have insurance. And we're not gonna get in that business. The tourism board's not gonna get in that business, but it would be a way to get somebody. What we thought we would do is throw enough money at 2 or 3 events and say, we sold out in a half an hour. Or it took us 15 days and we only sold 3 tickets. At least we vetted. And then if it becomes viable, somebody will step in and we'll do it.
Well, Rodney, at the Morganay doesn't he
He
do?
does some stuff.
Some of those, so might be a good person to talk to see what it is.
We want to brand this as a tourism thing. I know Rodney, he's doing it.
He's doing it for
fantastic.
community, he's doing it for community,
Yeah.
yes.
I think there's a lot of potential there, and we talked about the trolley, in some public conversations and a lot of private conversations, and I think there's some real potential with tourism, transportation, and also putting together some experiences. It's marrying 2 different ideas that we've got percolating, and love to talk a little bit more about that.
Todd, thank you.
That's good.
Anyone else?
You know, I was trying to figure out how to put into words what they said. So yeah, there's some discussions out there
We're having some good conversations.
and some good conversations and working towards some ideas. It's not something you're gonna see tomorrow, but I think it's something that you may see in a few tomorrows.
start the White Star Lines again.
White Star Lines?
The right White Star Line, our local bus.
But I do have to mention something that one of you said was, we always talk about having stuff for kids to do and families. I still think that's a missing link. I mean, you guys are doing it at law, you're providing the art camp. I know
We're doing
There's
stuff,
doing
it just
stuff.
wasn't funded by you guys this year,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
yeah, which is great, but I think that's still a big,
There's a few in there for us too.
Yeah.
For that.
And these are all.
yes, yes.
And these are all pieces of that puzzle.
Mhm.
There's not one answer to that
No.
question. It's all pieces of the puzzle.
All right, our next meeting is July 24th. Hope you all have a happy and safe regatta and 4th of July week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. How will you be? I'll be 44.
You're older.
I'll move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Great job. Oh.
Who knows why?